Have you ever picked up a stranger on a lonely road, only to find they were never really there? Tonight, we dive into one of the most chilling and timeless urban legends of all time, the Vanishing Hitchhiker. A tale whispered by truckers, passed down by cab drivers, and feared by every late-night traveler. But what if I told you, some versions of this story aren't just legend? What if one night, it could happen to you? Now, I'm going to tell you the story called The Vanishing Hitchhiker. On a cold, misty night, a man was driving alone down a deserted country road. The headlights of his car cut through the darkness, illuminating only the winding path ahead and the dense trees that lined either side. The radio played softly, a familiar tune that brought some comfort to the otherwise lonely journey. He was on his way home from visiting friends, and the hour had grown late. As he rounded a bend, the beams of his headlights caught a figure standing at the edge of the road. A young woman, barely visible in the fog, her white dress glowing faintly in the light. He slowed the car and pulled over, rolling down the window. The woman looked about 20 years old, with long dark hair and a pale, anxious face. She seemed cold, shivering in the thin dress. Without hesitation, the man asked if she needed a ride. She nodded silently, her eyes filled with gratitude, and slid into the back seat, careful not to disturb the neat interior. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror, trying to make conversation. "Are you all right? Where are you headed?" he asked gently. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "I need to get home. It's not far from here." She gave him an address just a few miles down the road. The man nodded and started driving, glancing occasionally at the mirror. She sat quietly, her hands folded in her lap, her gaze fixed out the window. The drive was silent, the only sounds the hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of wind through the trees. After a few minutes, the car reached the address the woman had given. It was an old house, set back from the road, its windows dark. The man stopped the car and turned to tell her they had arrived, but the back seat was empty. Panic and confusion washed over him. He looked around, convinced she must have slipped out unnoticed, but the doors were still locked and there was no sign of her on the road. He sat in stunned silence, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Unsure of what to do, he walked up to the house and knocked on the door. After a moment, an elderly woman answered, her face lined with worry. The man hesitated, then explained what had happened. The young woman he had picked up, the address she had given, and how she had vanished from his car. The old woman listened quietly, her eyes filling with tears. She invited him inside and led him to a mantelpiece where a faded photograph stood. The man's heart skipped as he recognized the young woman from his car. "That's my daughter," the old woman said softly. "She died in a car accident on this road many years ago. Every year around this time, someone sees her, trying to get home." The man left the house, shaken and bewildered. He drove away, the memory of the vanished hitchhiker etched forever in his mind. He would never forget the cold, silent passenger who had appeared out of the fog, nor the sorrowful mother who waited year after year for her daughter's return. The story of the vanishing hitchhiker has been told and retold in countless variations across the world. Sometimes the hitchhiker is a young woman in a white dress, sometimes a soldier returning home from war, sometimes a child lost on a lonely road. But the essence of the tale remains the same. A traveler meets a mysterious stranger who disappears without a trace, leaving behind only questions and the lingering chill of the unknown. The legend taps into something deep within us, a fear of the unexplained and the uncanny. We all know the feeling of driving alone at night, the darkness pressing in, the mind playing tricks. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a reminder that not everything can be explained, that some mysteries endure long after the headlights have faded and the road has disappeared behind us. Over the years, many have claimed to encounter the Vanishing Hitchhiker. Some tell of picking up a young woman in distress, only to find her gone before reaching her destination. Others speak of lending a jacket to a shivering stranger, then discovering it draped over a gravestone the next day. Police officers, taxi drivers, and ordinary people have all reported similar experiences, each adding their own details to the growing legend. What is it about this story that captures our imagination? Perhaps it is the sense of unfinished business, of a soul unable to find rest. Or perhaps it is the simple act of kindness, a driver offering help to a stranger in need, only to discover that their good deed has bridged the gap between the living and the dead. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is more than just a ghost story. It is a tale of loss and longing, of the connections that bind us even after death. It reminds us that the past is never truly gone, that the roads we travel are haunted by memories and regrets. In some versions of the story, the hitchhiker leaves behind a token, a scarf, a book, a piece of jewelry. The driver, puzzled, returns the item to the address given, only to be told that the owner has been dead for years. The token becomes a link between worlds, a tangible reminder of the encounter. Other versions end with a warning. The hitchhiker, before vanishing, tells the driver of an impending danger, a bridge that is out, a storm that is coming. The driver heeds the warning and avoids disaster, left to wonder if the mysterious passenger was a guardian angel or a restless spirit. The story has appeared in countless books, movies, and television shows. It has been adapted to fit every culture and era, from the highways of America to the back roads of Europe and Asia. Each retelling adds new details, new twists, but the core remains the same: a stranger in need, a ride offered, a disappearance that defies explanation. For some, The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a cautionary tale, a reminder to be wary of the unknown. For others, it is a story of compassion, of reaching out to help those who are lost, even if they are no longer among the living. Skeptics dismiss the legend as a product of overactive imaginations and the tricks of memory. They point to the similarities in the stories, the way details change to fit the times and places. But those who have experienced it firsthand speak of a chill in the air, a sense of presence, a feeling that something extraordinary has happened. In the end, The Vanishing Hitchhiker endures because it speaks to something universal: the fear of being alone on a dark road, the hope of finding comfort in a stranger, the mystery of what lies beyond the headlights. Imagine yourself behind the wheel, the road stretching out before you, the night pressing in. You see a figure by the roadside, a hand raised in silent plea. Do you stop? Do you offer a ride, knowing the stories, feeling the weight of 1,000 retellings? Or do you drive on, leaving the mystery unsolved, the legend to be passed on to the next traveler? The Vanishing Hitchhiker is not just a story. It is an experience, a moment of connection across the boundaries of life and death. It is a reminder that the world is full of mysteries, that the ordinary can become extraordinary in the blink of an eye. As you drive through the night, remember the tales of those who have gone before you. Remember the kindness of strangers, the sorrow of those left behind, the thin line between this world and the next. And if you ever find yourself on a lonely road, with the fog swirling and the night deepening, keep an eye on the roadside. You never know who might be waiting for a ride. The legend of the Vanishing Hitchhiker has roots that stretch back centuries, long before the invention of the automobile. In earlier times, travelers on horseback or in carriages told similar stories of mysterious passengers who appeared out of nowhere, only to disappear without a trace. The details changed with the times, but the core elements remained: a journey, a stranger, a vanishing. In the early 20th century, as cars became more common, the legend adapted to fit the new technology. Stories spread of drivers picking up hitchhikers on lonely highways, only to find their passengers gone when they reached their destination. Newspapers and magazines published accounts of these encounters, fueling a growing fascination with the supernatural. Folklorists have collected hundreds of versions of the Vanishing Hitchhiker story from around the world. In Hawaii, the hitchhiker is sometimes Pele, the volcano goddess, testing the kindness of strangers. In Mexico, she is La Llorona, the weeping woman, searching for her lost children. In Sweden, the hitchhiker warns of impending disaster, saving the driver from harm. Despite the variations, the story remains powerful because it taps into universal fears and hopes. We all know what it is to be lost, to seek help, to long for home. We all fear the unknown, the possibility that the world is stranger than we can imagine. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is also a story about memory and loss. The drivers who tell the tale are often haunted by their encounters, unable to forget the face of the stranger who vanished from their car. They are left with questions that have no answers, with memories that fade but never disappear. Some believe that the story is a metaphor for the fleeting nature of life, the way people come and go, leaving only traces behind. Others see it as a warning to be careful on the road, to watch out for those in need. Still others believe that it is a true account of supernatural encounters, evidence that the boundary between life and death is thinner than we think. Whatever the truth, the Vanishing Hitchhiker continues to fascinate and terrify. It is a story told around campfires, whispered in the dark, passed down from generation to generation. It is a reminder that the world is full of mysteries, that the road ahead is never as empty as it seems. So the next time you find yourself driving alone at night, remember the story of the Vanishing Hitchhiker. Remember the kindness of the driver who stopped, the sorrow of the mother who waits, the mystery of the passenger who disappears. And if you see a figure by the roadside, think twice before you drive on. For some stories are more than just tales. They are warnings, reminders, glimpses into the unknown. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a story that endures because it speaks to our deepest fears and hopes. It is a tale of loss and longing, of kindness and mystery, of the thin line between this world and the next. It is a story that reminds us that the road is never truly empty, that the past is never truly gone, that the mysteries of life and death are always closer than we think. As you drive through the night, keep your eyes on the road, your mind open to possibility, your heart ready for the unexpected. For in the darkness, anything is possible. The Vanishing Hitchhiker may be waiting, her story ready to be told once more. And in that moment, you will become part of the legend, a witness to the mystery, a keeper of the tale, a traveler on the road between worlds.